I used to do missionary work in Africa. This is why I stopped. Hello everyone, my name is Sid Smith, and thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Sunday Stories. I've been trying to figure out something to talk about my experiences of when I was doing missionary work in Africa, and just how I feel about religion in general, and just to kind of get conversations going about this stuff because I find it really interesting. So for today, I wanted to talk about my experience that happened 9 years ago when I first went to Africa in Uganda. Um, I worked with a missionary group called Youth with a Mission. I originally wasn't going to mention their name, but I figured I should. And I just wanted to share what it was like working with them, and if anybody is considering doing anything with them, and just my experience in general, because I feel like it was like bittersweet. So I originally heard about YWAM Youth with a Mission from a friend who went to Kenya, and she came back and told me about it, and I thought it was really interesting. At the time, I was about 18 or 19 years old. I think I was 19 because it was 2015 or something. So I was like really wanting to travel the world, and I had just gotten out of a really abusive relationship, which is also red flag number one. I think in some ways, like, I was leaving because I wanted to escape the reality that I was facing, and I think I just wanted to heal from the things that I've been through before. So it seemed like this group was offering something to me that would have been beneficial for me um, when it comes to developing a relationship with God, and um, really getting to know who God was and what God's purpose of my life was going to be. Um, I didn't really know who God was, actually. Like, I think that I started going to a group and I had, different ideas of who God was and stuff, but I didn't really know anything about Christianity and stuff. And I think I was not raised to be, maybe like with the ideologies of it, but not really as a Christian. I was more so like kind of just told to do whatever I felt was best for my life, and I was going to stick to that. But then I had another friend who invited me to youth group, and that's actually where I met the abusive partner at that time. Was through that youth group, and but then before that, like, I had some crazy experiences too that led me to even go to the group in the first place. So I think, like, surrounding all of that, I was trying to find healing and understanding through all the chaos that I was experiencing. So my thing is, if like you're gonna go do something like that, and try to really get involved with a group or anything like that, make sure that you know that's really what you want, and that you're not just like trying to find peace and chaos and stuff and trying to like run around in circles trying to find out what's going to make you feel better. I had felt like I had a really deeply spiritual experience with God, um, which I'm not going to deny that I didn't. I think that I did. Um, and so when I felt like I was supposed to go on this trip, like, it was really hard for other people to understand what I was going through and thinking, and people thought I was crazy. Um, and I was really even thinking that I was also crazy for wanting to step out and like do something for God and kind of like leave my life behind. There's a lot of people who were talking me out of it and stuff, and I was just like I would hear what they would say, but I think that I was more so wrapped up in trying to not think and worry about what other people were telling me and just do what I thought or felt like God was telling me to do. So after having to deal with arguing with parents and friends and different people, maybe trying to discourage me from going, even though I felt in my heart that it was the right thing to do, I still went. And there is more to the story, and I think I'll probably include that in another portion of this episode at another time. I went there and traveled on the plane like for 25 hours, and it was something I'd never done before. But for some reason, I was just not afraid to do it, and I just stepped out and did it. And I don't regret going. Had a great experience. I think that it was just more so the red flags that had got me there in the first place, and even the questionable mindset of the group itself is why I kind of like stepped back and came home. A lot of people find that YWAM is like a borderline occult, and I wouldn't 100% disagree with that. I think there's probably some ways that it can be a cult and other ways that it cannot be a cult. But I think in my circumstance, when I was speaking about the red flags, I think it's more so that I had to think about, what was my purpose of coming to this place, and like how was I changing from the person that I used to be, because I felt like I wasn't still reaching any progress, and I'm like was still trying to figure out like, what am I gonna do to actually make myself feel better. Like I felt like I had that spiritual experience, but almost as if like I wasn't seeing true like the fruit of what it says in the Bible of when you're seeking a life after God and stuff. I felt like I was getting worse than getting better, which was really weird to me. But with like YWAM and stuff, I think that there is like a lot of good opportunities to get from YWAM, and to connect with people and to do different things. But you're not getting paid for anything. Not that you have to get paid for God's work or something, but because like their mindset is that you have to just like rely and trust on God for everything, which I did, and my finances came through and everything. So I feel like that's not too far fetched from what the Bible also tells people to do when living a life after God. But the other issue with YWAM is that you just don't know what you're gonna step into when it comes to who's in charge of the base, because it's one of those things where even though it's like one under one head, like people can have their different things, and different bases they call it around the world and stuff. So like there could be rules, um, that everybody follows in each like base that are just like ground rules, like foundational rules, but everybody also has like to consider cultural rules, or even like if somebody's in charge of something, like how their leadership is affects how the base will be. My particular base in Uganda, like it was great, and we had a switch, and because I went there twice. One time in 2015, and I think I came back 2016. Also left again 2016, like later or mid 2016. Um, but the first time I was there was like a whole bunch of drama happening, and like there's a lot of craziness within our group and stuff too. But it seemed like something, that I was still trying to seek after, because I really, I think that I wanted to be healed from different things, but I also just like wanted to have that relationship with God, and also kind of have like that independence of being on my own and whatever. So I was really like, seeking it after for that. And I just think it's funny how like on a subconscious level, like we seek after things we don't even realize sometimes. Like, and I think, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, well, I think I was just wanting to get away, or I was just wanting to, um, like have that independence. So I'm just gonna probably like find something or do little things that try to get me to that independence that, really wasn't gonna get me to true independence, I don't think. But I think like, I mean, there is such a thing as being truly independent with God and like relying on God to like provide for you. Um, but I also feel that there is like a different viewpoint that I have now on money, um, and just like what I look at when it comes to property and like value in general, like where our value comes from. But it's not just due to like that experience, it's also due to like other things that I've researched and just like observing life in general. And I have thought about doing it again, like be a missionary and stuff, but it's just that the money situation and things that um require a lot of money and time, and when you don't have that, and then knowing that like if you're going to keep going out and doing these things, like you're not going to have any really solid foundation and things, like it was just really ambiguous to me, and it seemed like it was just hardly hard to juggle that and understand. And then on top of also when coming back home and nobody understands what I'm going through, I lose a lot of friends. um the only people who understand me are people who went through the same experiences that I did, and it's just like it's just really hard. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I'm gonna have more on this topic, but for now, just like and follow and stay tuned for more videos in the future.